Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the show. At the end of the last episode, there was a line that did hit a little too close to home, which is part of the reason Lena wanted me not to play this for you guys first, but it's the challenge I wanted to take. Where I mentioned that Dan, who did not place an ad in the paper, or in the magazine for his upcoming book, realized that he did not do that because of a lack of confidence, which is the reason I, in fact, did not choose that option, because projecting myself onto Dan, I do not have the confidence in myself, even though I do have some confidence in my work. And it's said that his writing struggled because he couldn't shake that lack of confidence for a couple days, and I find that really hitting close to home because that does happen to me. Like, there are times when I'll write passages that really groove with me, and I will be able to just bang out chapters of work, and there are other days where I convince myself that I'm terrible as a writer, especially after 28 rejections and 21 or 22 or 20, I think 21 no responses, 49, essentially 49 denials of my work. The same with doing the channel, surprisingly. Like, one of my best bits I ever did, according to you guys, was during my Sims 4 Socialism Challenge, where I started improvising with one of my Sims. And while I was doing it, I was having a lot of fun. A lot of you guys loved it, said it was really hilarious, may have been the funniest thing I ever did on the channel. But then when I tried to do it again, I started listening to myself improv, and I lost my confidence, and I lost my rhythm, and I just stopped. But I didn't mention it while I was mic'd up, but in my head I was thinking that I'm a lot less funny or entertaining than I think I am. And when it comes to the book, we're going to go ahead and get started here. When it comes to my book, there are times when I think that I'm not nearly as good as I think I am, and it's part of the reason why I haven't pushed it as hard as I have, or maybe as hard as I should.
Barb, sorry it's been so long since I've written. Things have been hectic around here, and I'm trying to figure out a way to get things back on track. I don't really want to get into it, but we're getting pulled in a lot of different directions right now. Nothing hurtful, just competing priorities, I guess. Although those can get worse and worse over time. I mean, Dan and I, before we got up here, we'd started to drift. Look at that. I said I didn't want to get into it, and I did anyway. Enough about me. Please tell me you're doing well, and I hope this doesn't stress you out too much. I promise to write a happier letter soon. Yours always, Linda.
Linda really does want it to work between her and Dan, because if she's thinking about the way they've drifted apart and thinking about what could be and what can be and what was, then obviously she still wants that to come back. Those feelings are still there, because if she had already given up, then she wouldn't think about it anymore. You don't mention something if you don't care, or if it's no longer a concern. So, I don't know. She really does want it to happen. Mr. and Mrs. Kaplan, I want to stress that it's perfectly normal for some children to fall behind in a specific area. Tommy may be struggling with reading comprehension, but his verbal and visual abilities are excellent. That said, he won't catch up on his own. He will need support from both of you. I recommend that you do the attached exercises with Tommy every weekday morning for 1 to 2 hours. He'll be unable to focus exclusively on these for 2 straight hours, so you'll need to take intermittent breaks, but use your judgment and stay with it as long as you feel he can stay engaged. I suggest that you do your sessions in the morning before he tires himself out and becomes distracted. I feel confident that with a supportive environment and dedicated exercise, he will catch up to the other children in his class. Please be in touch if you have any questions. Dr. Donald Samuels. And hello, Tommy. Nice rocket shirt. I almost thought that was a lightning bolt shirt, but it is a rocket shirt. Also, nice bed head. Is this the morning or the evening?
Having fun? You bet.
Must be the evening.
Here we go.
I just saw the lighting, didn't pay attention to the stars. Alright, let's see if we can find anything else on the first floor. Is anything hanging on the fridge? No, nothing on the fridge. Ogburn whiskey. Who's getting drunk already? Well, maybe Linda's already getting drunk. God, the art style and the general flow of the game kind of remind me of an adventure game called Dinner Date. Maybe I'll do that sometime for you guys. That was a fun game. It's free, and a lot of people hated it, but I think it was a little before its time. It was before what's the name of the dev who did Heavy Rain? No, that's the first game. I know, I can't remember. Anyway, thanks to Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain, they sort of made story games big. And Dinner Date came about before any of that happened, when the mainstream AAA titles were still the rage, when indies weren't much of a thing. I think Dinner Date was ahead of its time. And maybe I'll do that for the channel. I like doing little story adventure games like that. Ideas. Weekend outing. Where? Tuesday movie night. Check channel guide or maybe go into town. Family dinner. Too old-fashioned. Picnic. Farmer's market. Linda really wants this to happen. Like, I mean, she wants the relationship to happen no matter what. The art is probably secondary to her. She's thinking about it, going back to painting full-time, but she's probably only doing that because she has nothing better to do.
Dan and I had a good conversation today. Well, we'll have to wait and see if it was actually good, but I feel like I got my point across about family time. We've been getting a little frayed on the little things lately, and it reminded me of something Anne said one time. Love is a behavior, not an emotion. If something's important to you, you show it with your actions. We weren't doing so well with that before we got here. I told Dan my idea. I want us all to eat together at 7 every night, with family time after that. Tommy's wiped out by 8:30, so we'd get a solid hour and a half as a family, and then Dan and I could have the rest of the night to ourselves. And I think 7's a reasonable request. The rest of the working world knocks off at 5, right? It doesn't really matter what we do with the time, just that we spend it together. It's easy to make excuses when you've got a lot going on, which is why patterns help. I hope he feels the same way.
I've told Crowbeak a lot about my life. I'm not sure I ever told her so much that she would realize that pretty much every freaking letter I'm picking up in this game is somehow hitting close to home. That's kind of making me nervous. I sort of ruined my one relationship, my big relationship, because I didn't realize that you could actually date someone. I mean, you could go on dates in your living room doing things, and I mean, that's one thing that I've sort of come to realize. Like, I was raised traditionally. Like, my grandparents were super traditional, and my mom sort of went with that too. So it's like they couldn't fathom the idea that you can actually bond with someone of the opposite sex by playing World of Warcraft or Rainbow Six, or just, you know, it's like movie and dinner had to be the only way that you gain the relationship meter up a little bit. And I sort of still had that idea 5 years ago when... anyway. Perfect schedule, aka the single unattached writer's guide. That's not a good sign. 10 to 2 write, 2 to 3 eat and step away, 3 to 7 write, 7 to 8 eat, 8 to 10 decompress, edit. Oh, plus edit. I'm like, what the heck? Thank you, Akamara. Decompress plus edit plus life. Wrenches. Tommy till 11, knock off at 7. It's probably not good that he's already thinking about how to have a perfect schedule if he is unattached. It's not good at all. I mean, it's hard for me to argue with his logic. For me, it's similar, except I would do my writing at night in one block rather than to break it up. Surely he could do that too, right? Well, maybe he was just thinking out loud. Maybe it's not really that
Alan,
bad.
This letter might come from out of the blue, but do you remember when you told me about Bobby falling behind on reading? Looks like we're there with Tommy. We knew he was struggling when we came up here, but his teacher gave us a list of books for him to work on over the break and said we should see how he responded to the change in environment. She gave us a few sample readings and told us to keep an eye on how he was grasping the concepts. Tommy still isn't there. and long story short, the pediatrician in town knows a specialist who gave us some exercises to try. They seem pretty straightforward, but I wanted to write and see if you had any tips that helped you guys with Bobby. Damn. Just realized I didn't even ask how you've been. I'm sorry. This stuff is just a lot to think about. Dan.
Okay. Literary Register, May edition, Inside the Books of Summer. Adam Squire's The Interview, and America's... Okay, I wonder if that would have updated if we had taken the ad out. Wait, did that even count as a memory? I don't think it did.
Here we go.
Huh. Anyway, let's head to the bedroom and see what's going on. Man, this music is perfect and peaceful. What the hell? It's a book with a bunny on it? I'm like... Is that Tommy expressing his anger over the reading exercises in the morning? Is that him expressing his anger over books in general? I don't know. Guess we'll find out. I wonder why he's made such a mess. Aw. And he's being bullied. For whatever reason. God. I could fill an entire half hour to an hour show just talking about being bullied as a kid. Ugh. Oh, yep, this is the book. Lonnie learns letters age 4 to 6, 12 chapters of reading comprehension exercises. So he is expressing his anger at that book. He's expressing his anger at the reading comprehension books. Reading is important, Tommy. I know it's frustrating. Let's see, have we missed anything? Missed one clue of Dan. The Akamura just suggested that Tommy might be frustrated more at himself than anything, especially if the bullies are doing their thing. Was
Dan
true.
and I had a good conversation today.
Oh, wait. I already read that one. Okay, so we are looking for one more clue of Linda's... I thought I found I thought I explored everywhere, but clearly I did not. I have missed something somewhere. I have not done memories. I've been doing memories last, after doing everything else. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's see,
Why?
did I read that? Yeah, I read that.
So important.
This is the awkward part of the video where I just wander around the house for a half hour trying to figure out where everything is. Wait, was there something here? No. God, that's a sad picture. Is that a wedding photo? Hopefully that's not a wedding photo. My God. Yeah, I read that. Wait, was I pinging off something in the trash? No, I was not. Okay. Okay, I've clearly missed something of Linda's. I wonder if that's... Wait, is that new? Ah!
Time. This would all be easier if I didn't ever have to sleep. Last night after Linda went to bed, I spent some time, there's that word again, trying to make everything fit. I even drew up a little chart. The math is simple. It doesn't work. Technically, I could still get in 8 hours, assuming I don't eat or need to do anything that's not writing. But what about letters, reading, dealing with Paul? Hell, what about doing the dishes or taking out the trash? Not to mention that knocking off for the day isn't like flipping off a switch. It takes time to crawl out of my head and start functioning like a normal person again. And I can't just split it up into smaller chunks. Sometimes it takes an hour of false starts just to get going on anything usable. And stopping just sends the whole process right back to square one. Something's got to give.
I admire the writers who don't have to go through that process, but I'm similar to Dan in that sense. I call it, I guess, momentum-based writing. That's why I don't ever do notes in notebooks about future plot points. I sit behind the computer with a blank page and I just go. And the longer I'm able to go without distractions, the better the quality the writing winds up being. Sometimes I push through a little bit of garbage. Like, in fact, I just finished my second novel. It's available for public draft. You just have to contact me if you want a copy. And there's a character in there, actually two characters, whose names I couldn't think of anything better, so I just put a name in. And I meant to fix it before I released the public draft, and I didn't. One name, I've thought of about 3 possibilities that are way better. The other name, I thought of 1 possibility. I want to run it by the Akamura, in fact, who's my sounding board. But anyway. So I get it, and on top of, I look at my life and that I want to be a full-time writer, and I see that Walmart, my day job, takes 9 hours of my day just showing up, and then an additional half hour, each direction, make that 1 hour total of commute time, so that's 10 hours on days I have to work, and then you add in shower time and dinner time and all that, and I'm easily up to 11 or 12 hours a day where I have to work. 12 hours out of the day, you sleep for 8. There's 20 right there. That only leaves you 4 hours of free time. And if you have errands to run and obligations to fulfill, I mean, how much more of that time's eaten up? And the balance is hard for me too. But luckily, I don't have kids. And in fact, it's one reason why I don't want relationships. I don't want a relationship. I don't want kids. I don't want those kinds of obligations, because my God, I mean, there's already so much time I'm being eaten up, even before you add in IGN to it, an online onslaught, that, I barely have time to do anything, which is why I write on my lunch breaks at work, because that's the only time I seem to be able to have the time to get any writing done on a daily basis. Speaking of daily basis, though, let's see what Dan's been doing for his daily tasks. Oh, that's not good, seeing that kind of body language.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have snapped. I just...
Whoa.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have snapped.
No additional information. I find that really intriguing, that there is no additional information for that fight. It's a noodle incident kind of thing. It's left up to your imagination to wonder why they snapped and why they argued. You got to make this up to Linda, dude, if you want a relationship. But Dan doesn't seem that he wants a relationship.
Should I have run the ad? I don't know if it would have helped a book, but I still spent all day kicking myself. Did I cop out? Is there some other reason why I didn't want to put the book out there yet? How am I supposed to believe I'm doing something that matters if I'm scared to tell the world about it? Damn it. Way to build your confidence, Dan.
Dan is so obsessed with writing that he's not even... He doesn't seem that he wants a relationship with his wife. Maybe not even his son. New rule, don't disturb me if the door to my office is closed.
Okay. Yeah.
Man. It's going to be even worse for Linda if I do that. God. Okay. Alright. Let's go downstairs. Hello, Linda. Wow, I love that little jumpy thing that I can possess lights. That's very useful.
Wow, you're right. I guess we've just been so busy.
We barely talked yesterday.
I keep seeming to pick those out of order. But you guys can parse it since it's just one sentence. Alright, let's see where the... There we go.
Just got back from the co-op. Tuesdays are pretty much my favorite day of the week now. Today, Monica showed me some brush techniques for blending my tones more evenly. She really is amazing. I can't believe how much she can get done in a week. I'm not sure I could keep up that pace even if I could do nothing but paint every day. Going in is always a little bittersweet, though. I can't help but think about how great it would be to go 2 or maybe even 3 days a week. But it means a lot that Dan's giving up his time to help me out with this. I know he's trying as hard as he can.
Sorry about that lack of noise. I was just thinking about all that implied. Family should have dinner at around the table every night. Oh, man. God, that feels awful as a writer. I don't even have a dining room table in my apartment. Like, literally, I eat dinner at my desk because I want to write and I want to do these videos and I have other things, and I have never owned a dinner table since I've lived on my own because everything has revolved around the work that I feel like I need to do. And I would talk about that, but that's a very long story, and I'm not sure I'll have a gap to do so. But if you want to know the details, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll talk about it in a future episode. But I've actually been able to sort of psychoanalyze myself, and I know why I'm so obsessed with being a workaholic and working as hard as I do, even though it's not really getting me anywhere. Well, I mean, it's getting me some places. Hell, I have 2,000 more subscribers now than 1,940-ish than I did 1,940-ish ago, you know? I mean, things have happened. Just, it's never as fast as you want it, you know? Time is always the enemy for anyone who wants to be successful. It would be different, and I know I would be happier if I wrote my book for me, because then I wouldn't give a crap about whether it sells, but I want it to sell, and I want an audience that will be happy reading it. So I put that expectation on myself pretty hard, that I want it to be good, and I want it to be perfect, and I need the time to make it perfect. So it always stresses me out when I don't get that time.
Will it make me smarter?
Honey, listen to me. You are smart.
Tommy is definitely having confidence issues himself.
Good, all right.
Man said to do the Lonnie book every morning. I don't want to close Linda off from speaking to Dan. But I think Dan also needs the space to be able to write without feeling pinched at the amount of time he's spending. But if he can help Tommy read in the mornings and then have some private time to work.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. You?
Right. Yeah, as the Akamura pointed out, I don't necessarily have to choose compromises, but I'm just thinking if Tommy gets... You know what? I think I will go ahead and do it. I will pick the book, but not a compromise. So Linda and Dan will be disappointed, but at least Tommy will be a little bit healthier as a result. Because right now, Dan's main problem is that he doesn't have the time to write and make life work. But if he wants to be a writer, he can sacrifice a little bit of his life to write more. And Linda will... Yeah, okay, that's what I'm going to go with. Alright, we're going to pick Tommy's outcome, and we will not do a compromise. We will only go off of Tommy's outcome. Man, this, like, the decisions in this game are harder than, like, moral games like Mass Effect. Like, this is way more personal. I mean, I suppose it's easier to get into a story like this over, you know, because it's real, it's grounded, it's family time and career and success and happiness. I mean, that's something we can all relate to. Whereas being a specter in outer space with Mass Effect drives and the incoming, whatever they were called, the Harbinger, and, you know, it's a little harder to get into that from a personal perspective. Anyway, from the desk of Harold Baxter, January 22nd, 1948. A final entry before I depart. The bank would no doubt prevent me from purchasing the house due to inherent conflict of interest, but given its history of frequent ownership changes, I feel confident the mortgage department will be glad to have the property off their hands. I believe I can set up a trust or perhaps a shell company and convince Mr. Lowry that we must part with the property for less than market value. I feel certain I can appeal to his conservative nature. I feel it will prove to be a shrewd investment as a rental property, and I think I now understand why people do not stay for extended periods. I find myself unable to describe the feeling precisely, but in my time here I have found my mind drifting in strange ways as if it were not always my own. But the natural beauty is undeniable. Perhaps shorter visits are a wiser use of property. Yes, I believe that is a fine idea indeed. Okay, Mr. Harold Baxter. I hope that doesn't imply that the game's going to be over with in one more day. That'd be kind of sad. But I suppose if it is, that gives it high replayability. If it only lasts a few days. Anyway. Okay, making one final check to see if there's another journal entry from the desk of Harold Baxter, which apparently does not appear so. Maybe there's only one per day guaranteed. So just making sure. Yes, we will do a non-compromise. Dan didn't want Tommy to start another school year behind, so he committed to helping the little man for 2 hours every morning. Having both of his parents there helped Tommy's confidence as much as his reading, and their morning practices became an event they all looked forward to. Oh, that should help Linda and Dan's relationship anyway. It should work out really well. Dan couldn't figure out a way to please everyone and still make room for the time and focus he needed to write. He was able to compromise and fit in one unbroken session each day, but for the rest of the day he worked around his family commitments and tried to make the most of shorter sessions. The lack of focus came through in his work. Linda and Tommy got used to eating dinner without Dan, and most nights he stopped work just long enough to kiss Tommy goodnight before heating up his dinner in the oven. Dan and Linda still found time to catch up a few nights a week, but most of the time they were ships, passing in the night, each on their own course. That's poetically haunting. And that's how the Kaplan's first month at the house on the cliff came to an end. Dan sent what he had so far to Paul. It went badly. Dan knew the work wasn't very good, and Paul echoed that judgment. He promised to keep the news from Grovefield for the time being, but told Dan that without a major improvement in quality, the book might not be publishable. Ouch. Man, I haven't even gotten that far yet, though. What am I complaining about? A few nights later, Dan and Linda got a babysitter and went out for a date, but they both felt like they were going through the motions and could barely carry a conversation. They knew their first month at the house hadn't gone well, and that their trip was not saving their marriage as they'd hoped. What could have been a pleasant night out was awkward and troubling instead. The next day, Dan made good on a promise to take Tommy into the woods and look for arrowheads. Dan had researched local tribes, and he regaled Tommy with stories of Native American history while they got dirty looking for arrowheads at the site of a Sislwan settlement. They stayed until sundown, laughing, digging. Arrowheads Tommy found became prized possessions. Okay. They still had 2 more months on the coast, and their story was just beginning. Well, that tells us how long the game's gonna be. I suppose that's good. Okay, yeah, summer vacation, 3 months. That makes sense. That makes very much sense. We're going to start the next chapter, apparently called The Show, in the next episode. Linda got a letter in the mail. We'll read what that letter said in the next episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you tomorrow for another one.